Hey everyone, this is Citywide Blackout at the Rhode Island Author Expo. Glad you're all watching this. Hope you're actually at the expo to definitely check it all out. And joining me is a familiar face. We spoke to her just a couple weeks ago, and she's back because she has so many books. We could do this all day, actually. I'm talking to author Heidi McLaughlin. Heidi, welcome back. It's good to actually meet you face to face now.
Finally. I mean, it's been a couple weeks, but we did the Zoom thing. But now we're doing this.
And also read banned books, folks.
Yes.
Walk the shirt.
Sit the shirt.
Read those books. If it's banned, read it anyway.
Yes.
Read it twice, actually.
Read it twice.
But we're going to talk about your books because we talked. I think you had your recent released book actually at that time, and I think you have two new ones coming out soon. One is called "Sail Away with Me" later on this month on the 31st, and then "The Art of Starting Over" that's on February 1st.
Yes, it is.
Please walk us through what both books are all about.
Okay, so Sail Away With Me is a co-written book that I do with my daughter Cassidy, who is a second-year law student at New England Law. She came up with this concept last summer before last, and she's like, I really want to do this with you. So we've been writing these books together. This is the third book in our series. They're all standalones, and they all take place in fictional Seaport, which is technically Newport. So it's all very local, so a lot of local flavor. We just, really are trying to let people know what our tiny little island is all about. So that's what we're doing with that one. And then The Art of Starting Over is my next release with Montlake. And it takes place in another fictional town, which is technically Wickford.
I love these fictional towns. They're actually real places.
Well, fictional is great because then I can make that town do what I need it to do to fit my story.
Oh.
Right? So I don't have to, make the town what it is, and I can change it to be what I need it to be, and then someone can't come back and be like, that doesn't happen here, or that doesn't exist here.
There's always someone to do that.
There is.
Every
There's always
single
someone.
time.
For example, with my Seaport series, someone told me that you cannot take a train across the bridge. And then I asked them if they've ever been to Cape Cod by train, because you can definitely go over.
I've gone over many trains across many bridges.
I mean, I'm from Portland, Oregon, and we have a train that goes over a bridge constantly. So I was just like, wait a minute. Anyway, it's fictional. And so being fictional, you get to do whatever you want to do. So The Art of Starting Over, which comes out February 1st, does take place here in Rhode Island. And it's a small town, which is my favorite genre because it's just, a small town is like community.
Yep.
There's just so much community that you can put into a book. So it's small town, coastal, it's found family, it's a second chance romance for two people who couldn't get it together right in high school. One's a widower and the other is going through a divorce. And they come home, and in essence it's really a Hope Floats retelling, just with some extra little stuff. And so I'm very excited about that story. It's got a beautiful cover, and it's just a beautiful message that's in there about just returning home and finding what your soul needed. Because once you leave, sometimes it's hard to come back. When you do come back, it's a good thing.
I love that. I also really love the covers too. The covers always look absolutely amazing.
Thank you. I have amazing cover artists. The Art of Starting Over obviously comes from a traditional publisher on the Montlake side, which is part of Amazon Publishing, and they hire the most amazing artists, and they work so well with us to make sure they capture the moment, capture what the story is about. And then my cover artist for the Beaumont series she's been doing my covers from 2012. She knows the story. She keeps the branding on point. And then my covers for the Seaport series is another friend of mine. Obviously, we grow friends in this industry. And she's from Canada, and we gave her a mood board, and she just nailed all my covers.
Excellent. I think we talked about this last time, but your number one fan, Trudy.
Yes.
Who is also your book partner here.
She's my book Bible girl.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did she also help with these two?
She just she reads them.
Yep.
And she keeps them consistent. She's really a godsend. I would not. Every time I send her, I'm like, here you go. She'll drop whatever she's doing and read the stories and just really, make them better for me.
Exactly. All right. Let us talk about your two characters for The Art of Starting Over, Deborah and Hayden.
So her name is Deborah.
Deborah, sorry.
No, and it's okay because I know it looks like it's the ORAH, but I met a Deborah She is a friend of my daughter's, and I met her one night after finals for their first semester of college, law school. She walked in and she's like, "Hi, I'm Deborah," and I thought, "What a beautiful name!
Right.
I'm going to use it."
I'm taking your name.
And then she's like, "Yeah, but you know what? It's the ORAH because the nurse messed up in the hospital." She's Cuban. The nurse thought her mom said with a V, and so that's what but her name was supposed to be Deborah. And so now
No kidding.
and she's perfect Deborah. Like it's amazing.
Wow.
So
So just kinda like roll with it?
I could not use her name fast enough. So
course,
there
of
she
course.
was. And it does I want to say like chapter 3, it does explain that her name is pronounced Deborah, so no one is like, "Oh my gosh," like my narrator for the book, and I was like, "It's Deborah, remember it's Deborah." She's like, I got it.
That's so funny.
So, but it's one of those names, but, we can't assume that Deborah with the O-R-A-H is going to be Deborah when could be Deborah, but yeah.
It's funny because my mom's name was actually spelled the same way, but with a B. So I imagine she went through the exact same stuff too.
Absolutely.
Oh, Deborah. I was like, Deborah.
It is, and just it happens that Sean, like it could be, people just spell names differently and especially these days, names are spelled so different.
Sure.
You got Peyton and Peyton, like, and it's different. I have a Peyton with an E, but there's Peytons with A's. And, yeah.
All
it's
right.
fun.
Now let's talk a little more about these characters. What is their shared past? What kind of brings them together?
So Hayden is a couple years older than Deborah, and Hayden is best friends with Deborah's brother Colt. And he likes Deborah all through high school, but he's afraid of Deborah's dad, who's the sheriff, and he's
Yep.
afraid of his, so we have a little best friends, little sister romance thing going on, and so they really never quite get it together. Like, she wants to be his girlfriend, and he's like, your dad's the sheriff, and I'm best friends with your brother, and that sort of thing. So, at high school, he graduates and goes on his own way. He realizes in college, as he's away and he's homesick, okay, this is the girl I want to be with, and he goes back and finds out she's dating someone else. So he lets it go. Then they happen to, he loses his wife. He decides to move home where his family is to help take care of his son. And Deborah's going through a divorce. And it's not a secret because this first chapter is all over Amazon, so people can read it. She's going through a divorce. She finds out her husband is cheating on her. And she's like, I'm out of here. I got to go home to my dad. And her and her dad have a rocky relationship. So it's really about building that relationship, reconnecting with her community, because she was Pearl of the Ocean for 4 years. That small town, funny little, we're going to have this festival, and so she ends up being the Pearl of the Ocean for 4 years. Super popular girl who kind of shunned her friends too, because she got together with this guy. His name is Chad. He's a Chad.
Oh God. Every book has to have their Chad, right?
Every book has to have one. I feel sorry for Chads. I know a Chad who's not a Chad, and so it's like it's kind of bad. But anyway,
Chads and Karens get it so rough.
Right. And I know a Karen too. She's a lovely person.
Exactly.
Actually, I know 2 Karens that are lovely people.
Exactly.
And it's just like, oh my gosh,
Poor Karens and Chads.
I know, right? What are we gonna do? So anyway, Chad's a Chad, and so he was a Chad in high school, and everyone didn't like him, but they ended up together, and so here we are. We're X amount of years later, and she's got a child. He's got a son. They're the same age. They connect, friendship-wise, because they're little kids, and his. Connor, the little boy, just really takes to the little girl Marin, and she wants to play baseball with the boys. So we've got a whole bunch of stuff just going on while we have Deborah, who's just like in pain and agony because her husband has cheated on her with her best friend. I didn't add that one. With her best friend in Chicago. Oh yeah, it's a mess. And she finds out all this on TikTok.
No.
While she's getting a pedicure. Yes.
Oh my
am
God.
I the a-hole thing that people do on Reddit?
Yeah.
So her friend's on, am I the a-hole for having an affair with my best friend's husband? And Deborah's like, wait a minute, am I the best friend?
Wait
sure
a
am.
second.
Oh yeah, so it's great. And it was such a fun story to write, and it's just, yeah. But again, I love small town stuff, and I love second chance because I am a second chancer. Like, I've had one, and it's still going on for like almost 30 years now, and it couldn't be, there it is.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
How is it when they reconnect? Is it immediately like, oh yeah, we're gonna get together, or is it more like, we hate you, get out of here?
No, it's more of it's Hayden. He sees her. It's raining, of course.
Of course
Of
it
course
is.
it is. It's raining. He offers a ride, and he knows she's hurting, and he doesn't understand why. And so he's just like, "What's going on?" And so he's really there for her. And then it's an overtime. It's a gradual. Okay, this is who I want to be with.
Sure.
She has some trust issues with him because of the way he kind of acted in high school. So she finally lays it out, and she's just like, "All right, if we're gonna do this, like, I need a commitment. I need to know that you are willing to go the full way with me, and before I put my heart into this." And he's like, she's 1,000% ready to go, and it's a cute love story, and I brought a lot of like small town quirks into it. Like again, we have the festivals, we have the small town parades, we have just the random deputy that shows up that just knows everybody, like the small town stuff. And coming from Vermont, where I knew every police officer, every firefighter, like I knew the mayor who wasn't really the mayor, but he said he was the mayor. So like it's
Interesting.
It is, right? So we just I just brought a lot of the small town stuff from Vermont, brought it over here, like used Wickford because it's gorgeous there. It is so gorgeous there. It just. So they just reconnect, and it's not instant. It's not instant. They're not just like, oh hey, let's she's going through a lot, and so he's there to help her, and plus he's lost his wife to an accident that could have been prevented, and so he has his own things going on.
Nice. Okay. All right. Now let us talk about Sail Away with Me. So this is another romance story.
Yep.
This involves your main character, Sail, well named, who's also a sailor.
He is.
I sense like a theme here with this guy.
But the whole family.
Sail is not what you might call a stable person. He's a reckless individual, racking up a ton of debts, and he's back home.
He is.
There he meets up with Galvin, who I'm guessing is nothing like our buddy Sail.
She is not. She is determined. She is in Seaport to work to earn money so she can pay for law school comfortably, because she wants to go to law school in Boston, and Boston is expensive. And I mean, we got first-hand experience, so we know what we're doing when it comes to law school. Sail is this super popular. He gets in trouble in college, gets kicked out of college, has to come home, tell his dad, who is, his parents are like royalty. Like everybody knows them, everybody loves them. So you have an expectation. Your children have an expectation. And I will say, they do have unique names. They're Dune, Sail, Title, and Crew, because we're on the beach, we're on the ocean, we're working boat tour companies, we're having fun.
This is like a theme family here.
It is. It's perfect. But Jack is the dad and Pearl is the mom. And Pearl owns Pearl's Clam Shack, which I think is Clam Shack. Like, and Jack is this big powering dad, but he's just like this big community member, and he's got these 4 boys, and these 4 boys have expectations.
Yep.
So Dune was the first book, but the second book dealt with 2 completely different characters. The Love and Sunsets dealt with some other community members. Eloise is an art student. She comes back. Her aunt owns a art gallery, but everybody's in there. But these are standalone books, so they're not going to follow the whole family every single time.
Yep.
But now we have Sail, who has to come home and tell his dad he's been kicked out of college, and then he falls instantly for Galvin, who's this waitress at his family's diner, and he just is like, hey, look at me, and she's like, no, I'm here to work. I'm here to save money. I'm here to not upset your parents because your dad gave me this job.
Yep.
Her dad and Jack were college friends, and so when Galvin says to her dad, I want to move, he calls up his buddy Jack, hey, can you help my kid out? And here we are. And so Galvin is very much I'm going to work and you're just going to be over there and don't come near me. And but things soften. He wants to show her around Seaport, and he wants to take her to the mansions, and he wants to but she's afraid of the water. She's afraid to be on a boat. So he's
God.
and he's just like, hey, I'm part of the water rescue team. Like, you are safe with me. And she's just like, maybe not. Maybe I'm moving away a little bit. But it's a fun story, and they're fun characters, and it's all happily ever after. And it's it's not a rush romance. It's not like instant love. And she likes him, but she's like, nope, he's off limits. Like, he's that big red circle with the cross. Like, nope, you're Jack's son. He gave me this job, and my job's more important. So sure.
How do you pace your romances? Because, like you said, you don't want them to be just like over.
Yeah. So I mean, it depends on the story. But my straight up romances, the 2 main characters are meeting by chapter 3. Like, that's always just been my thing. They've got to meet by chapter 3. They've got to have some sort of interaction. Some not if it's the meet cute or if it's the, we have to meet, that sort of thing. It's going to be by chapter 3, and then sometimes it's insta-love, but then insta-love, there's always going to be a conflict there. Insta-love is like instant attraction, but your personalities may not mesh, so you gotta build up from there. But with Sale and Galvin, he is just like, yeah, I like this woman, this is where I want to pursue her, and she's just like breaks. And so with her, it's a slow for her. He's all in, so it's his job to not to get her to come around, but to get her to fall for him in a way that she's going to trust him. And then for her, she needs to know that he is not that quintessential son of the owner, and if he breaks up with you, I'm going to lose my job. Like, that's her big fear.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to upset Jack because he's giving her a favor and stuff. But I have an instant love fake dating romance that it's like page 3, boom, they're sailing away into the sunset sort of thing. But like with all my romances, they're meeting by page 3, and whether they've like in Forever My Girl, it's Liam coming back and walking into Josie's floor shop and being like, you got something to tell me because I just met my kid. Like, what's going on here? So it's just, that's when my thing is chapter 3, not page 3. Chapter 3, I want them to come face to face and know each other by then.
I like that. And you mentioned that with the art of starting over, you are with your daughter for this one.
No, the Seaport series is with my daughter.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so we're on our 3rd book. Art of starting over is just me sitting at my desk going, here we go. Yep.
What's it like working with your kid?
It's fun.
Nice.
It is fun. We have a very tight outline, and I veer off my outlines all the time. And so when I'm writing, she's like, "This is not supposed to happen."
Right.
Because she obviously is in law school, so she's working on her own outlines, and she's like, "Wait a minute."
Yeah.
She's just like, "Come on, Mom." But
how did you wind up working together in the first place?
So we moved to Rhode Island where she was still in college. She went to Wheaton College for undergrad, and her last year of college, she only had a couple classes a week, so she was at home a lot. And then we were just sitting, and I was like, middle of the year I start coming up with my concepts for next year or the year after to get my calendar down. And she was like, let's write together. And she was home, and when she was home, it was super easy. So she was in one room, I was in the other, and we'd write, or she'd sit next to me and we would write it out, or she'd write over the top of me, and that sort of thing. Or she'd be like, no, I don't like this, and then we would go out and tour. We'd go out and tour Newport and take photos, and and we had mood boards, and she put all the mood boards together. This is this name, and this is this name, and she did all the upfront legwork, and then I put the words down, and she writes over the top of me, and it's a little complicated now because she's not home, but that's what file sharing's for.
Exactly.
It makes it super easy.
Dropbox is fine.
Yeah, super easy. So now it's just a piece of cake.
Excellent. All right. Well, folks, you got 2 books here to check out. Make that thing happen. You go to HeidiMcLaughlin.com. She's got 60-something books right now, so you got a lot to read. You've got, of course, the movie, which was out back in 2018.
2018. It's currently streaming on HBO Max, or you can buy it on Prime, Apple, iTunes, if iTunes is still a thing. I don't know, Apple TV or whatever it is now. I can't keep track.
Who does that anymore?
Yeah. And where else is it? Obviously DVD, but streaming right now on HBO Max.
Excellent. All right.
Or at my table.
All right. Well, thanks, Heidi, and of course, wonderful to actually meet you in person.
You too. I'm very excited.